Morning. Welcome to the 2023 Silver Creek Veterans Day Assembly and Recognition. We hope that you find this program insightful and reflective, and we also hope to make this a celebration, a tradition here at Silver Creek. I do ask that you be respectful and attentive for what is about to take place. This assembly is a little bit different than maybe others that we've done before, so I ask that you give your respectful attention to that with headphones out, your AirPods out, and all of that. Basically, we're going to have two reasons for this assembly. Number one is to honor current servicemen and women. That's the most obvious. The second is to highlight our programs. In this case, it's going to be the band and their talents. Now, tomorrow, November 11th, is Veterans Day, a federal holiday that is meant to honor all veterans of the uniformed services who have served or are still serving during times of peace as well as war. Veterans Day had its origins at the end of World War I, when the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, the fighting ended with the signing of the armistice. In 1919, President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed the first Armistice Day that November 11th. The day is also known as Remembrance Day in the Commonwealth of Nations. Wilson's proclamation stated, "To us in America, the reflections of Armistice Day will be filled with solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the country's service and with gratitude for the victory, both because of the thing from which it has freed us and because of the opportunity it has given America to show her sympathy with peace and justice in the councils of nations." Congress officially passed a concurrent resolution on June 4th, 1926 with these words: "Whereas the 11th of November, 1918, marked the cessation of the most destructive, sanguinary, and far-reaching war in human annals and the resumption by the people of the United States of peaceful relations with other nations, which we hope may never again be severed. And whereas it is fitting that the recurring anniversary of this date should be commemorated with thanksgiving and prayer and exercises designed to perpetuate peace through goodwill and mutual understanding between nations." The resolution also encouraged the display of the U.S. flag on all government buildings and urged appropriate ceremonies. A congressional act approved May 13, 1938, made November 11th a federal holiday. And in 1954, Congress, at the urging of veterans organizations, changed the name to Veterans Day to honor service members who had served in all of the nation's wars. And it should be pointed out that Veterans Day celebrates the service of all U.S. military veterans, while Memorial Day, a federal holiday on the last Monday in May, honors those who have died while in military service. When Francis Scott Key wrote the Star-Spangled Banner over 200 years ago, he called America the land of the free and the home of the brave. Those words are as true today as they were then. Throughout this nation's history, America's soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen have bravely answered the call to defend our freedom, to aid our friends and allies, and to turn back aggressors. We can never fully repay our debt of gratitude to the more than 650,000 American service members who died in battle or the 1.4 million who were wounded. We can, however, recognize and thank the 25 million veterans still living today. We now ask that you rise for our nation's flag and the playing of the national anthem. Now, at this time, we would like to also direct your attention to the band once again, to which they will be performing The Thunderer. We also want to show our appreciation and respect for our current staff members who have served our country. You will recognize most of the individuals, and if you're in one of their classes or simply pass them in the hallways, you can thank them for their service. So I'm going to announce them, and most of them are standing over here. I'd like you to hold your applause until the very end. Mr. David Bradley, United States Air Force. Mr. Edward Barnes, United States Navy and Indiana Army National Guard. Ms. Jessica Hoskins, United States Army. Mr. Paul Hankins, United States Navy. And Mr. Stephen Doyle, United States Air Force. Thank you for your service. Okay, and so we do have a guest speaker for you. Not really a guest. I mean, he's here every day, so I wouldn't call him a guest. But he was born and raised in Ohio. He joined the Air Force at age 19 and was honorably discharged in 2005 as a staff sergeant. He then utilized the GI Bill to attend school. His father was a retired Army veteran and special education teacher, and Mr. Bradley decided to follow in his footsteps, but it took some convincing from his wife Heather, also a teacher, for him to ultimately make the commitment. His first position was as a science teacher, but special education seemed to be more his calling. He spent 10 years at New Albany High School before moving to Silver Creek in 2021. Welcome to the podium, Mr. David Bradley.
Good. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mr. Bradley. Most of you probably have spoken to me. I work in special education here, and right now I'm in the intense intervention room. And so if any of you are interested in Unified Track, come talk to me. It's a little plug for our program, okay? I was asked by Dr. Willman today to talk to you about what it means to me to be a veteran, okay? As you heard, I did serve in the United States Air Force. Just under 10 years, I was what they call a crew chief, okay, for fighter aircraft, F-16s and F-117 stealth fighters, okay? 10 years I worked on those aircraft. And basically did all the heavy maintenance, you know, the launching, the recovery, and the refueling, things like that. You know, for a while I worked in crash recovery, so if we had an aircraft that went down, we got the task of going out and cleaning up the mess, essentially. If you've ever seen Top Gun, you know, the guys who do to the pilots and all that, that's basically what I did. All right, so it was exciting. It was really exciting, and there was a lot of great times there. Now, I don't have any stories of frontline firefights, okay, which is what typically the first thing that comes to your mind. You know, people who are, you know, in Iraq or Afghanistan, you know, on the front lines battling, shooting it out with the enemy and stuff like that. Now, I do know friends. I had a lot of friends who were in that situation, who didn't make it through, all right? In fact, one of my friends just succumbed to his injuries not too long ago that he has sustained while over in Iraq. I do know several people who were involved in IED attacks and things like that. So, but I unfortunately don't have any stories like that. I have plenty of other stories, okay, plenty of other stories. I will tell you, though, that those guys, those men and women that are on the front lines fighting, that's a whole new level of bravery, okay, that a lot of us don't understand, all right? And so I really give it up to them, you know, on Veterans Day and on Memorial Day, okay? My son is also in the military, right? He just spent a few years up in Alaska. He was what they called airborne artillery, so he jumped out of aircraft, parachuted down, set up 119 howitzers, and sent a lot of fun ammo down the range. And now he just recently moved down to southwestern Louisiana, where he is part of the 10th Mountain Division now, supporting them with artillery. So huge extreme, Alaska, Southwest Louisiana, as far as weather is concerned. I kind of come from a long line of military veterans. My grandfather, who unfortunately I did not ever get to meet, was in the Army in World War I. Like Dr. Willman said, my father was also an Army veteran with active duty and reserve duty. He spent a total of about 35 years. He was a tank commander, and if you ever want to know a neat story, he missed going to Vietnam by 5 minutes. All right, so that's kind of an interesting story. So, but yeah, so I kind of come from a family line. What it means to be a veteran? Well, first and foremost, we do this job. We joined up. You know, we may have had our reasons at first, whether it's schooling or maybe we just didn't have anything going on at home. I was trying the college thing, and it just at the time was not working out for me, so I needed something different. And so you sign up. But once you sign up, then you realize what it is really about, and it's that right there. All right, it's really about that, to protect our freedoms and our security. Okay, that's really what it means, okay? Being a veteran represents the unwavering commitment to protect and defend the values and the rights that we hold dear. It's a lifelong service to this country. As a veteran, we maintain a level of lifelong commitment and discipline and loyalty to not only our country, but to everything else that we do in life. We kind of look at things differently, all right? Okay, we commit ourselves to things. We tend to be disciplined, all right, just because of our time in the service. It's an absolute honor and a sense of pride for myself. It's really hard to understand. It's a brotherhood and a sisterhood, okay? When you're a veteran and you meet another veteran, there's already a connection, okay? I've known Mr. Barnes for quite a long time, okay? Mr. Hankins, Miss Hoskins, all right, Mr. Doyle, okay? We look at each other as sort of club members of our own little club. Like, no one else really understands what that means, okay? And we have that connection, and we will always have that connection. We will always make fun of each other, correct? Right? We make fun of each other. The branches will always poke fun at each other, right? I was in the chair force, right? Chair force. While some are in the Marines, well, I'll look at them and say, well, at least I don't need a Mickey Mouse watch to tell the time, right? But it doesn't matter. So we always poke fun, but we all had one mission, okay? We all had one mission, and that was for our country, okay? We might poke fun at each other, but in the end, okay, we all did it for the same reasons. That automatic bond is something that will carry on with you the rest of your life. If you're out in public and I meet somebody and I find out they're a veteran, all of a sudden we're best friends. Okay? So it's kind of a really neat feeling. Okay? A veteran is a bridge between the past and the present, a guardian of the lessons learned, okay, from some of history's darkest moments. We bear the weight of the fallen on our shoulders, and we continue their stories by honoring them on Memorial Day. Okay? That's really what it means. Okay? So when you're out and about and you meet a veteran, give them a handshake, give them a thank you for their service. Know what they gave up, okay? Whether it was the ultimate sacrifice, okay? The sacrifice they made to serve, and to those that gave the ultimate sacrifice, honor them. And we honor them on Memorial Day. Okay? Anyway. So yes, it's very important. Okay, I watch videos like that and it does choke me up, brings tears every once in a while, you know, because I've known people who have been through that. We've been there, right? Like I said, I may have not been on the front lines, okay, but I was serving during 3 major conflicts: Yugoslavia, Iraq, Afghanistan. And we do support them from home as well. I could tell you all about the pilots who dropped the bombs. I could tell you about the pilots who were shot down. I knew them personally, so we have our stories. So, but I'd like to invite Ms. Hoskins, Mr. Hankins, Mr. Barnes, Mr. Doyle to come on up here. Stand with me, because it's not just about me, it's about them as well. And we could all give them a round of applause. And speaking of stories, he's got great ones. Okay, if you know Mr. Barnes, you may have already heard them. He could tell you some awesome stories that you wouldn't even believe are real. Okay. But yes, so being a veteran, there's a lot of pride and honor in that. Okay, and thank you guys.
Thank you again, Mr. Bradley, for that. I'd also like to thank the band, Mr. Regan, for Mr. Regan for his preparation for this. They had to do some things outside of their normal scope of songs, so thank you for that. Also, like Mr. Doyle, arranged this for this to happen. You know, there's lots of varying opinions about U.S.'s involvement in various parts of the world, whether we should be involved in war or whatever, and those opinions are wide, and many are valid. But I think there is nothing more important or American than supporting those troops. So make sure that you do that. They are there to protect you, and they have a big sacrifice, potentially. They're sacrificing things that we cannot even imagine. So our job as civilians is to try to make it worth it. And so I will leave you with that today. So once again, thank you for your attention. We'll hang out here until the bell rings at 10:40. Hope everybody has a great weekend.